Hey, what's up guys? As you're aware from the previous video on divorce in Singapore, the only ground for divorce in Singapore is the irretrievable breakdown of a marriage. How do you show that the marriage has irretrievably broken down? To show that, the most commonly relied on reason is the unreasonable behaviour of the other spouse. The plaintiff has to show that the other spouse has behaved in such a manner that you cannot reasonably be expected to live with him or her. Common reasons would include drifting apart during the marriage, spending a lot of late nights out with women, not being made to feel loved, cold wars, quarrels over money, over children, drugs, alcoholism, domestic violence, refusal to contribute to household expenses. The court will rely on certain tests in determining unreasonable behavior. Firstly, it is a subjective test, unlike the test used in many areas of law, which uses the reasonable person objective test. The court will look at whether you find it intolerable to live with your spouse. And the fact that you, and not a reasonable person, finds it intolerable means that you have satisfied the subjective test. Secondly, the court will also use an objective test, that means a reasonable man test, by taking into account the personalities and character traits of both parties to determine whether you can reasonably be expected to live with the other spouse. Finally, in determining the behavior of the other spouse, it involves acts, omissions, whether passive or active conduct. The court will look at what your spouse did or what your spouse didn't do, and messages that can be inferred from body language. In the case of Chan Wai Ching and Vanessa Ang, the wife made allegations that her husband had an uncontrollable temper and relied on one email where the husband had admitted to flaring up, having a temper tantrum. The husband could justify himself for flaring up based on that email because the wife had disappeared for close to 20 hours and remained uncontactable. This was sufficient for the court to find that it was not unreasonable for the husband to flare up. In other words, since it's a double negative and you may find it hard to understand, the court found that it was reasonable for the husband to flare up. So the wife could not rely on this email alone to make allegations on his uncontrollable temper. So thanks for watching this video on unreasonable behavior in the context of divorce.